All right, so happy Thursday. Welcome to our NoCodeOps live community show. So we're here today with Ian. Hi, Ian, our next speaker. And today in particular, we will be continuing our series of events based on no code and AI. And we will be diving into programmatic SEO, combining some of our favorite no code tools in the community. So Webflow, Whalesync, Airtable, of course, and ChatGPT, the hottest topic of the month. So, Ian, you're an amazing member of our community, but also I'm sure I saw all these amazing creations and builds that you were doing, and I was like, hey, Ian, you need to come and show us. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what we're going to explore today together?
Yeah. Thanks, Claudia. Thanks for having me. This is a super exciting thing for me. I don't get to do too many webinars, but when I find
Mm.
something cool like this, I feel like it's worth sharing with everyone. So, I am gonna go into my introduction, but I might as well just pull up the slides and get started. Is that cool, Claudia?
Let's do that. Yeah,
All right, cool. All
pull
right,
them in.
let's get this stuff.
And as soon as I see them, I will bring them onto the stream. There you go.
All right, cool. All right, we're good.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, well, thanks, Claudia. This is gonna be mastering PSEO, like Claudia said, Webflow, Airtable, Whalesync, and everyone's favorite ChatGPT. So before we get started, who am I? Hopefully you guys get this meme here. If not, it's totally okay. But who am I?
A
Well,
little
my name's
hint,
Ian.
that wasn't you. That wasn't you. Because the first
Yeah.
time that Ian showed me that slide and he was like, "Who am I?" I was like, "Is that you?" It's like, no.
Yeah, no, I think it might be like just an American thing, American culture, who knows? But yeah, if we have time at the end, maybe we could watch the meme. Who knows? But cool. So a little bit about myself. My name's Ian Binek. I have nearly a decade of digital marketing experience. I'm a Georgia Tech alumni, go Jackets. And I have some Fortune 500 B2B experience, B2C startup, B2B SaaS unicorn, and B2B SaaS MVP to product market fit marketing experience. So like I've kind of seen like most of the walks of life pretty early in my career. So I've had like really unique experience like at this point in my life, and it's really been an honor, honestly, to work with all the companies that I have. A couple like funny things about me: I'm a proud cat dad, and I love to run. I'm trying to run a marathon next February, so fingers crossed that I'll be able to finish it in under 5 or 6 hours. Um, and I'm currently working in a venture studio in Buckhead, so actually right up the street from the NoCodeOps people. So it's pretty cool, and it's a nice collaboration we have here.
Hopefully, we'll get to meet next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Cool. So we're gonna go through some slides here, and then we're actually gonna do the live presentation. But first, I want to talk about like what the actual impact of PSEO, like what it can actually do for you. What the heck even is it? Why is it important? And some use cases. And then we'll go into the live demo. So let's just jump in. Here's a quick snapshot of one of the clients that we work with in the studio. We did some PSEO for them back in February, so really not that long ago. And we saw roughly a 25% increase in clicks over a 30-day period. So what traditionally used to take weeks, months for a noticeable increase in clicks from SEO to happen is now been drastically reduced into really a week or two. You might be able to see a large difference in clicks going to your site. And this is just one example that we have here. And for context, this is a B2B SaaS company. They're pretty much making a market right now, so there's a lot of open territory with their keywords and a lot of long tail keywords that they don't get a lot of search volume every month. So not many people are searching for them. But that means there's just like a massive opportunity to own those keywords really quickly because we can mass create pages for them. So this is a really cool screenshot. We have a couple others in the studio as well that are seeing some success from it. So we're pretty happy with the results.
It shows that it works.
It does show that it works. Cool. So what even is PSEO? So I asked ChatGPT and it gave me this answer. And it refers to the use of automated technology and algorithms to optimize website content and improve search engine rankings. I think that's a very wordy response. And honestly, I don't even think it's correct. So here is my response, I would say it is a faster way to build website pages that rank for long tail keywords. And when I say long tail keywords, I mean when someone searches in Google, the specific keyword may be 3 or more words. Anything less than 3 words is usually really competitive to rank for. And a lot of people have already made content on that. But anything plus 3 words, a lot of times that's open territory, especially if you're going really deep into an industry. So that is where the power of PSEO comes from. So why is it important? We've kind of touched upon this already, but it saves a lot of time and you bring results faster. So using the power of these no-code tools, we're able to create hundreds of pages in just a few hours, whereas it used to take weeks or months to do. So what are some actual use cases of doing this? You can develop a glossary of common terms in your industry. So, for example, you can go into your Google Search Console, which is completely free for everyone, and you can see what people are actually searching for, or where your website is showing up and what someone searched for to see your website show up as an impression or be marked as a click. And so, for example, if you see a lot of words that you're showing up for anywhere above 10. So if you're in the 10 to 20 or 10 to 30 range for search rankings, then you have a pretty cool opportunity to develop maybe like a glossary of common terms in your industry. And you could, for example, say, what is the definition of, and then place that keyword that you want to rank for. That could be one page, and you could do that 100 times for all the words that you're ranking in the 10 to 20 range for. That's one cool opportunity. Another one is just location based. You could say best SEO agencies in blank location. This is actually pulled straight off of Whalesync's website. I just figured they already have a good representation of it, so might as well show it. But this works really well for service based businesses that are online. It's a really cool opportunity there, as well as SaaS businesses that maybe they have maybe a service based SaaS thing that they want to advertise through the search engine. Another one is developing connector pages for your software. So this is also pulled off of Whalesync's website, but all the green boxes are kind of showing collection
Greetings to our
IDs.
friends at Whalesync.
Yes, the Whalesync guys have done it well, obviously, since they developed the solution. But yeah, I mean, they did this on their website, and this is kind of like how they got a lot of their early start here with their search engine rankings. And it's like how to connect software one with software two. All those green boxes are really just switchable IDs that could be, instead of Airtable, it could say Google Sheets, or Notion, it could say something else. It could say Bubble. So those are all things that could be swapped out, and that's how you can mass create these pages really quickly. And last but not least, there's another option here where it's maybe less of an SEO play, but more of a sales play. And so you could develop websites for your sales prospects, and not websites, but website pages. So you could say in maybe the title of the page, it could say what it would be like to work for the prospect, or what it would be like for the prospect to work with your company. This is something that we are probably going to test inside our studio with some of our portfolio companies, just because, A, if it helps influence more clicks from cold emails, then that ultimately can also drive more revenue for these portfolio companies. So
100%.
maybe, yeah, so less of an SEO play, but more of a sales play, which ultimately you just want more sales at the end of the day. So both options work. But
Amazing. And I can see
yeah,
so many people in the chat that I'm so happy to see. So I just want to say hi. Aida, Alberto, Eileen, Jeff is here. Alberto was saying, I think Peter Level does this. I always wondered how to do it without code. That's
oh,
pretty
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, well, you might get to, maybe this will be exactly what they do. This is definitely one way to do it. So, yeah, hi everyone. Nice to have you here. Cool. So anyway, that's enough of the slides. Let's get into the actual demo, like the meat and potatoes of this. And we are going to be actually creating, I'm going to do this for 5 pages, but the concept could be quickly scaled up to 50, 100, literally 1,000 pages if you really wanted to. And the amount of time to do that would actually be very a lot smaller. But since we're doing a demo here, I just want to showcase how to do this for just quick 5 pages. So that's what we're going to do completely from scratch today. And it's going to be for, I decided that we were going to do the location example for cookie shops. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm going to come back over here and hopefully, Claudia, is this still good? You can
Yep,
still see my screen?
I can see your Airtable.
Cool,
I can
cool.
see it all.
All of them? Okay, cool. Well, we are gonna go and create a new Airtable here. So if you haven't used Airtable before, it looks a lot like Google Sheets, but it functions a lot differently because it's more of a database than I guess like close to an Excel is what Google Sheets would be. But we're going to use Airtable here to create a really quick database. And the first thing we're going to do is name this. And I already created a couple tests in this account, so I'm just going to say test2. And this is going to be cookies. That doesn't really affect anything. That's just the name. But I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete some of these columns real quick, and we're going to start completely from scratch. So the first thing in our Airtable is just going to be the keyword, or actually I'll say the city, because we're going to do this location based PSEO pages. So we're going to start with the city here. And then, for SEO, we're going to want an H1 text, which is essentially the keyword we want to rank for. We're going to have an H3 text, a paragraph text, and then we're also going to have a slug. And that's all we're going to throw into our Webflow pages. But as you will see, this will be really quick. So we are going to do H1 text, and we're going to keep all of these as single line text field types. That just helps it be pulled into Webflow a lot more cleanly. H3 text, paragraph text, and we will do a slug. So at this point, let's just throw in 5 quick cities here. We'll say Atlanta. We will say Buckhead, which is in Georgia. We will put in like Toronto.
Asheville.
Nashville?
Or Asheville. That's the only place
Oh,
where I've been.
Asheville? Oh, okay. Well, we'll do Asheville. Yeah, why not?
We had an
Cool.
amazing offsite there last year.
Yeah, Asheville is beautiful. It's a small little city in the mountains on the East Coast. Cool. All right. So now that we have the cities in here, let's go to ChatGPT. This is where we're going to quickly create the content for our pages. And so just for context, like when you're building out an SEO optimized page, you're going to want your keyword to be in the H1, H3, a paragraph, in the slug, and in the title tag of the page. And this is all super easy, and we can do this with Webflow. But first, let's develop this in our Airtable. And so we are going to want to rank for, let's just say, the best cookie shop in Atlanta. So we are going to go into ChatGPT. And this is the prompt that I use a lot of times. And I know you could probably use a formula in Airtable, but honestly, sometimes I find this to be a lot faster for smaller subsets of pages that I'm creating. So I'll ask, can you concatenate?
I'm looking at your history.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff here. All right, let's see here. So, can you concatenate the phrase the best, say, best cookie shop in? I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to say, can you concatenate the phrase for each keyword? And I'm going to go back and grab our keywords, which these technically are cities, but that's okay. And we are going to say, and return them in a bulleted list.
Can you
And I think,
oh, okay. I was gonna say, can you copy? Can you send me that? Or probably not because you can't use the chat. I'm just gonna write it down for the people in the audience if they want to try it as well.
yeah, sure. Can I
Yeah,
just throw
don't.
this in the chat or?
No, I don't think so. I'm typing it
Oh,
down as we
okay.
go.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I like to use anytime you're gonna see there's a cool option to do this too in a second when we get to the URL slug and we need to place hyphens where there's normally spaces. This is I just like to use ChatGPT to basically like do the formula for me. Um, so as you can see, we got the best cookie shop in Atlanta, and this is actually going to be our keyword that we want to rank for. Now, this is probably not a great example if you're trying to build PSEO pages, because I bet if you went in Google and typed the best cookie shop in Atlanta, there's probably some fierce competition there just because cookie is like such a broad term. But if you said the best cybersecurity software for penetration testing in Atlanta, that's probably a untapped keyword. Like there's probably no one actually bidding on that keyword and or actually running at or have a page that has that exact phrase. Therefore, you can probably easily own it if you place this keyword in all those sections that we talked about. So we're gonna paste these in here, and that was really
And
fast.
Whalesync just reposted our event, so there,
Oh,
there, no
nice.
pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, okay. I'll thank Matthew. Cool. So that is our H1 text, and that's really simple. So now we want to find a way for an H3 text. We want to find a way to use each of these keywords in just like another format. So I think a great example could be a similar. We're going to ask ChatGPT to do a very similar thing, but we are going to just basically put a different phrase in. So we're going to say, can you concatenate the phrase, what makes or what does it mean to be space, and then for each keyword, and we'll grab the keywords again, which I think we actually have already copied, and return this in sentence case and in a bulleted list. Which I love. You can just kind of place this in ChatGPT, and it'll, it's not grammatically correct at all, and it's honestly disgusting to try to read as a human. But the computer doesn't care, and it's going to likely return this the way that I want it to. So I want it to return, what does it mean to be the best cookie shop in Buckhead, um, as like the H3 text. And I asked it to be in sentence case so that it basically just didn't have all the capital letters in there, which is nice. Oh no, I didn't do it.
Always, always happens.
I'm actually curious because I did this earlier, so I kind of want to quickly check this out. What did I? Sometimes it's always just a little different. I'm going to stop generating here. And let's see if I can go into my other chat, because I did this quick example before I did the webinar. So technical difficulties.
And also like today, my chat GPT has been a little bit clunky. So
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go
there you
up a
go.
little bit. All right. What does it mean to be? And return them in sentence case in a bulleted list. I feel like I did this, but we'll just grab this and go back to cookie shop locations. This is it's like the beauty of ChatGPT, but then also the annoying part of ChatGPT is sometimes it'll give you a different response for the same question
Yeah,
that is relatively specific as well.
which I guess maybe helps out with SEO because you don't want to have the same, content like 1,000 other
Uh,
people.
uh, yeah, it's true. Let's see here. Okay. Hopefully, what I'll do here is I'll just like copy and paste this one more time, and I will just reset the browser. because I think it was giving me a problem. Okay, cool. We're good. All right, paste. Boom. Let's see if this works.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. While this is populating, well, I guess let's see. Oh, thank you, Cloud. Oh, dang. 1 second. Okay, we left I accidentally left the.
What is it that you're expecting it to do?
I'm expecting it to just like return as a sentence case. So like I don't want this to happen where it says like the best cookie shop in Atlanta.
Right.
And if I can't get it to work now, I mean, there's definitely ways to get around it, and we can probably just skip through it. But I want to try to get it to work for you guys because I want to show you relatively
Sometimes you
fearless.
can tell them, like you can tell ChatGPT, that's not what I meant. Can you write them in a sentence way?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I should have probably tried that, but we'll try that if this doesn't work. Let's see here. Return them in sentence case and a bulleted list. What does it mean to be? Okay, we're gonna let it run. If it doesn't work, then we'll just tell ChatGPT to fix it, but
Need to
it
train
should be
it.
good. Yeah, we're training it. Okay, it's still not working. That's okay though.
Yeah.
So we return to this. This is in sentence. Fingers crossed. Okay, we're gonna run with it for now, but
Maybe it's the
I
word
will.
case.
Yeah.
Here are the concatenated phrases in a sentence. Maybe you should just
And
say in a sentence without case.
yeah, let's try.
Here are the concatenated phrases in the form of a sentence. Can you return these phrases in the form of a sentence?
I hope it doesn't just put them all in like one sentence. I feel like it probably will.
I feel like my past life of me as a teacher right now is also judging me.
All right, this is ChatGPT's last shot here. Oh, I think it worked. Nice. It worked. Okay. So, thank you, Claudia, for the
No
quick
worries.
fix here. Normally, it's not like that problematic, but alas, that's the beauty of doing things live. So, we'll grab these once this is done, and we'll move on to the next section, which we'll throw these in here. That's going to be our H3 text. And then the last part here, or second to last, so paragraph text. We're just going to grab our cities again one more time. And we're going to say, can you concatenate phrase? We are the best cookie shop in, and then for each of these keywords.
I wonder how many people in the chat are craving cookies right now.
I know I am.
Yeah.
Okay, go. I decided to pick cookies because I was like, I mean, I could do something boring like maybe software or something, but
No,
everyone
we
knows
like
what,
cookies. And
yeah, everyone likes cookies.
cookies are borderline tech, aren't they?
That's yeah. I had a feeling that maybe someone might have thought that when I first said it. I was like, well, hopefully they're not too disappointed. Okay, we're almost done with ChatGPT here, and then we get to go into the magic part of all this because this is really you can finagle all you want in ChatGPT and make this process better. And in fact, I'll just caveat and say, like, when I make these pages for a lot of our portfolio companies, I'm usually adding a little bit more text in here and trying to make it as personalized as possible. So, like, my inputs to ChatGPT are usually pretty specific, because all of these companies are in relatively niche industries, and so I'm trying to make sure we don't get some nonsense back. But for cookies, it is pretty easy. So this is going to be our paragraph text. Cool. And the last part here, which is should be straightforward, but we did run into issues before, is we are going to replace all of the spaces with a hyphen. So can you replace space in the keyword phrases? Can you use space with a
Prompt engineer, add it to the resume, Claudia. Yes, I will then.
for each of these keywords?
That's actually interesting, how people are always scared that they're going to lose their jobs to AI. We just created a
Oh
new
yeah.
role, prompt engineer. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I think there's such an opportunity for there to be like chief AI officers and AI managers within organizations soon, and I definitely don't think that anyone's really going to be losing their job. If anything, it's just going to help people get their jobs done faster or more efficiently, which is, I hope people are excited about that.
For sure.
All right, this should be the last part, and hopefully this works. Then we can move on to Webflow. Okay, I think it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. All right, sweet. So we'll let this populate real quick, and then we'll jump into Webflow and create a new collection. But we'll have to create a new site. And the cool thing about Webflow is, which I find this kind of weird, but it's kind of how they roll in Webflow. So you can create a starter site and have access to 50 CMS items. But if you go on like the first paid plan, you don't have access to CMS. Um, I don't know how that works. I think they just try to hook you into their ecosystem. But you can make a Webflow site completely for free and make 50 pages in the CMS completely for free, which is pretty awesome. And another plus for Webflow.
They keep changing their pricing, so I'm never up to date with this. But I thought you had access to the CMS. Oh no, you're right. The basic doesn't have access to it.
Yeah, isn't it weird? I feel like it should, but that's how they get you on the CMS plan, which is the higher
Well,
one.
yeah, I guess it's like, okay, you get it for free, you get a taste. If you really want the real stuff, you get the CMS
Yeah,
pricing plan.
yeah. Cool. Well, we are ready. So we're basically about to graduate from Airtable and ChatGPT here, and we can just move right into Webflow here. How are we looking on time? Okay, we still got 30 minutes. I
Yeah,
think
we're good.
15 more minutes to get through the demo. So stay
We're
awake,
good.
guys. We got this.
Yeah, keep
So
prepping your
it's
questions.
yes, yes. All right, so we're in Webflow. We're creating a new site right now, and this is going to be something that you guys can do for free, like I mentioned before. Yeah, especially if you just want to kind of mess around. So we're just gonna start with a blank template, and we're gonna make probably like the ugliest website ever. But that's not the point here. We're just gonna say the point is to showcase the power of linking a Airtable to your Webflow and creating pages quickly. So create the site real quick, and it's gonna automatically place us in the designer. And it is loading.
AJ, hi AJ. He says you can do this in Excel and Airtable with formulas.
Yeah, no, totally. So that's what I was saying. You definitely usually can. And I am honestly just kind of lazy. So I 100% agree with you, AJ.
We like to
And to,
explore
yeah,
all different ways to satisfy all our users.
yes. Yes. And to be fair, like 100% agree. I think if I'm working with anything over like 10, I'm 100% going right into developing a formula to do that because one, ChatGPT has like that character limit. So if I ask for it to return 100 variations of that, it's probably not even going to give me all of them without me having to run it again. Plus, I don't have premium, and I believe if you have premium, it goes a little bit faster. So it does take its time.
Somebody called Content Nest. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but they're saying I do that with concatenate faster. That's so I've tried that before. I was like, can you reply a little bit faster? And it does.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to test that. Yeah, I've never used concatenate faster. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I just kind of
hacking
stumbled.
the freemium.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I'm all for it. Cool. So we're in Webflow and we went into the CMS area on the left. And like I said, we're in the starter or the free plan. So we're able to do this. Um, but we are just going to name this cookies is the collection name. And then for each of these input fields, we're just going to copy over everything that we had in Airtable. So this one is going to be city. We are gonna leave that as slug because we do have a slug. We use plain text because we used single line text in Airtable. So just kind of keeping the same variables speaking to each other. We'll have h1 text. We will have h3 text. And then I believe the last one is just paragraph text. Cool. Let me just make sure. Yep. All right, cool. I will rename this paragraph text just so that it auto syncs when we go into Whalesync. Cool. So this is all good. We're going to say create collection and save changes. Cool. Now, I'm actually going to use Whalesync now before we design the page. That way you guys can just quickly see how fast we're able to bring in all these basically records. So I'm gonna quickly jump over to Whalesync. Now Whalesync is a way for you to connect Airtable and Webflow together, and it basically is taking each record in your Airtable and placing it in here in your CMS very quickly. And so in our example, we only have 5. And although it still probably is faster to use Whalesync for 5, you could probably almost as fast make 5 collection items in Webflow about the same time in about the same speed. But imagine if you have 50 or 100, then it's very, very time consuming to copy over everything from your Airtable into Webflow. And so that's where the beauty of Whalesync comes from. So we are going to use Whalesync here. So we're going to create a new base, and we are going to pick an app. So I like to start with Airtable because the process of validating this is a little bit, just a couple more steps, but it's really easy. So we'll go into Airtable. We're going to find our API key. So we're going to go into the account, which is under our personal account. And then we have to go to the developer hub. And from here, we are just going to grab the API key really quickly. Here. And then it says the base sharing link, which is also found inside the Airtable. All we'll do is go to share. We'll go to share publicly, and then enable share base link, read only. Copy the link, place it in here into the place. And yeah, it pulled in our base test2 cookies. That's what we want to sync. So we'll say save connection. And then it's like, okay, where do you want to actually send this information? So we're going to say Webflow. So we'll authorize. This is just going to take me to an authorization step where we're just syncing our dashboard. And we are just going to choose the site that we're working with. So I believe test2 cookies is the site that we're working with. And then authorize the app. And hopefully we have no issues. Cool. All right, pulled in test2 cookies. So we'll save the connection and we're ready to map the tables. Now, before I do this, I actually realized I need to publish this site real quick. That way Whalesync can actually recognize that a new CMS collection was created. So publish the site real fast to this Webflow.io domain where there's literally nothing on the site yet. And we will map back to Whalesync, map the tables. So we are going to choose the table from Airtable and then the collection that we created in Webflow. Now, quick word on these arrows. These are considered the way or where the data is flowing. And so when I work with these kind of pages, I always just like to do Airtable to Webflow. And so there's the only possible changes that can happen on the Webflow front happen, or sorry, wrong way to say that.
Comes from
It
Airtable.
comes from Airtable. I've been in situations before where I would enable a two-way sync and I would, mass import all of the pages into Webflow. And then I'd realize I forgot to add like one of the collection items, or I forgot to add something that was vital for each one of the pages. And so I would delete all of the pages in Webflow, and then I'd realize that I deleted everything in the Airtable if I have the two-way sync on. So obviously, it's a little bit safer to just use the one-way sync for this situation because we're not continually refreshing the content here. But there are a lot of examples where if you are like continually refreshing the content, whether you're in Webflow a lot or if you're in Airtable, that it does make sense to have a two-way sync on, which would be this one. But we
Hmm.
are just going to do the one-way sync for now.
The
And
one
hopefully that makes
way.
sense. Go ahead, Claudia.
Yeah, yeah, no, the beauty about these tools, like I'm looking at Whalesync, Webflow, Airtable, like all of them are so visually, intuitive, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
love them so much. Like it's great to see how people, like non-technical people like me, like other people that are now in the community are able to achieve these kind of results. And that's also thank you to the UI and the way these tools are
Yeah,
created and built.
100% agree. Yeah, it's super simple. Just click a couple buttons and you're good to go, which is what makes this so easy for everyone to use. So cool. All right, so we're going to map them to Webflow, and then we are just going to pull in the fields here real quick, which they likely have already auto-mapped everything because we labeled them the same in both. So we're good to go. So I will hit Save Base. And before I enable my sync, I always like to do this just because, like, oh, I just want to protect what's in my Airtable. I'll just come over here and duplicate it just in case something wrong happened. Um, this obviously nothing is really at risk because we're only doing the one-way sync. But if you were doing a two-way, it definitely makes sense to copy your stuff in case there's a mistake.
You learned
So
the
we'll
hard
enable
way.
this. I did. It was really annoying. I had like 100 pages in here once. It took me like maybe an hour to make them all, and then I accidentally deleted them all. So, uh, yeah. But thankfully, it was only an hour, so it wasn't that bad of recovery. Um, this is the same thing I just said. Like Whalesync also just tells you like, hey, just be careful when you're syncing. If you delete something, you cannot get it back. So we understand that. We are going to turn our sync on, and fingers crossed, everything will work appropriately. So as you can see down here, it's initializing the sync. It's telling us how many records are left. 2 records remain. So when we go back into Webflow, we'll refresh and we'll be able to see that those collection items are, in fact, inside of our Webflow now. So I'm going to refresh real quick. And then we will actually get around to designing the pages, which I told you they're not going to be pretty, but that's not the point.
No worries, no worries. I'm sure we have plenty of designers here that would love to just redesign your cookies page.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you want to reach out, I would love to. Cool. So we could see in our collection that all of those got pulled over. So awesome work. Now all we're gonna do is design the quick page. So in the pages panel, we'll be able to just click into our template page. And that's kind of how Webflow works is you have a template page for your CMS. And we are just gonna start building real quick. So I'm gonna try to make this look as pretty as I can in like 20 clicks. So we'll do a header or navigation bar, I should say. And then we will throw in a hero. So I think a good one to do would be maybe this one. So we'll throw this in here. Really doesn't matter again, like the design here is not really affecting anything as far as SEO goes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's just start pulling in some of the data. So this is the H1 field that we want to populate. This is important for your keyword. You want your keyword to be your H1. And we're going to get the text from the cookie collection, which is pulling in here. And we're just going to say H1 text. Boom, done. Now, we are also going to pull in this very quick paragraph text as well. And like I said before, I would obviously make this a little bit longer, but we're just putting in the keyword here to represent that we're capturing that H1 text and the paragraph text in this quick section. Now, the next part is we are going to pull in an H3. So let's just grab maybe this one and place it underneath. Obviously, not a very pretty site so far, but we're getting to that. We're getting to the SEO optimized page. We're going to turn this into an H3, so it's going to get a little smaller. It's okay. And we are going to put H3 text to here. So we are, again, hitting that keyword. And we're going to leave this as lorem ipsum, whatever, because we could go into ChatGPT and say, what does it mean to be the best cookie shop? But that's a little bit, that's just for fun. If we have time later, we'll do that.
Yeah,
Cool.
people are very more than free to customize this however they want. Actually, it would be nice to see, like if you do give it a go, send us your results, send us your preview, read only, whatever site you make. It'd be fun to showcase.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make, I mean, and the guys at Whalesync, I've just plugged their YouTube videos. They make some awesome content and it always looks beautiful because they have some of it set up obviously before the YouTube video, but besides the point, they do an awesome job. So if I'm not doing an awesome job explaining this, they do better. So
You
we'll
are,
plug
you
that.
are.
Thank you, thank you. Cool. So the one last thing here, as far as content goes on the page for SEO, that I want to include is just some internal links. So I'm going to throw a section down here underneath all this, and I will also throw a container inside that section. And I will place a div block also in there, which will just be kind of nice to have for our hierarchy of section, container, div block. Now, the easiest way to do internal linking is we'll just throw in a CMS or a collection list, and we will drag this in here. And we will select the source of cookies or the collection of cookies. All right, now we're gonna do some really basic design stuff here. We're gonna make sure so we're in the collection item. I wanna make sure I'm in the list real quick. I'm gonna turn this into a grid really fast. And I just want it to be 3 rows or I guess 3 columns. And as you can see, it's pulling in 5 collection items because we have 5 collection items. Let's just say I only want 3. I'm gonna make sure that I'm in the list selected, and I'm gonna go over here into the settings. And I will just come down here and I will say, oh wait, might just need to be in items actually. Oh, limit items, here we go. Boom.
Yeah.
And I'll say 3. So we only have 3 showing. And let's just quickly customize these so they don't look so barren. And there's actually content in them too. So put a div block in. And as you can see, it populated in all of them. We'll put a header in there. And we will make this an H4. Doesn't matter really, actually, but we'll place that there. And we'll just throw in the H1 text. Maybe we'll actually do city here, maybe because that's a little bit more clean.
Mm-hmm.
And we will throw in a paragraph. Oops.
Maybe with ChatGPT 4, you'll be able to add images.
Oh yeah, I'm actually really excited about that because I definitely think that'll be a thing. Cool. And last but not least, we'll throw in a link, a text link. Cool. And we will just pull this from the actual collection page, so the current cookie page. And we'll get the text also from let's just say the H1, maybe. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, you can mess around with this all you want,
Mm-hmm.
but you get the idea here. There's a couple things left. I want to throw a header here just to like for some continuity on the page. And I'll just say, oh, whoops, gotta throw this inside of the container.
This is a small Webflow lesson as well.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too in the weeds, but we're just gonna throw this inside the container so that it formats correctly. And then we'll just say like, check out our other locations. Boom. Okay, so now as far as everything on the page goes, this is a very SEO optimized long tail page. And at the bottom, you could obviously have a footer. You could obviously have maybe a call to action to have someone buy or request a demo or whatever you're actually trying to, sell. And there's one last thing we want to do on these pages that I think could be forgotten pretty quickly is we want to go into the title tag and we want to throw in a field. So we'll throw in the H1 text because this is the keyword that we're trying to rank for. And in the meta description, the meta description doesn't, I do not believe it affects SEO, at least as of my knowledge. I do not believe it affects SEO, but it does influence, people clicking um, into your site. And so we're going to throw in just the paragraph text in here. And, obviously these could be expanded on, but that in all intents and purposes now, after we hit save, this page is pretty much ready to go. And, if we designed everything and made it look pretty using the styling that is in Webflow, it could probably be styled pretty quickly within 20 minutes. It could be looking really good. Potentially, inside of Airtable, we could, put attachments in here. We could have put pictures of the city, and those could have been auto imported. And so if we'd had, for example, if we had an image in our cookie collection, we could have asked for it to be placed here. So that's another way to make it look really pretty and really personalized. But yeah, this is created for all 5 of these pages now and could have easily been done for 100. And all of the text is dynamically shifting. So that's
Yeah,
pretty much it.
amazing,
That's pretty much
fantastic, amazing. No,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
my applause. There you go.
thank you.
No, but this is incredible because as you're saying, it's only for 5. Obviously, we're just showcasing an example here, but you've done 5 items in 5 seconds, and so it could have been, as you were saying, like 100,000, and so people can really, I guess, I hope they can see the potential here of what they can achieve. And
Mhm.
as you were saying at the beginning of your presentation, which was great, by the way, so thank you so much for that. Why do we need programmatic SEO? Why is it so important? Because we want people to be attracted by what you're posting. You want Google to know that you have a website right there. You want people to see your website. You want them to click. And as you were saying, each of those clicks can then transform and translate into potential sales, leads, whatever it is that you're looking for. So programmatic SEO is definitely important for companies, even professionals, individuals, whatever you're trying to get an audience for, you need programmatic SEO. So
Mhm.
uh, I think
Yeah.
it was really great to be able to do this in such a short time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I just like kind of building on that a little bit, just to like further prove out the point from a mathematical perspective too, is you know building 100 pages for search terms that only get 10 search volume a month versus going after one extremely competitive search term that gets 1,000 a month. It's so much easier just to build the 100 pages and probably a lot faster for that matter because like you saw, we're not getting any external links. We're just doing all internal linking, all just basic on-page SEO stuff, which allows us to get those, possibly 10 clicks a month for each one of these pages versus that extremely competitive page that you're always working on that gets 1,000. Um, so yeah, I think like from a, just from a business perspective too, and a mathematics perspective, this wasn't possible before, or at least wasn't scalable in a way that made sense. But now that it is, I think that SEO is like it could drastically change in the coming years.
Mm-hmm. We do
But
have a question. We have a question in that in that regards. And actually, people in the audience, if you have your questions, this is your time to ask them because we're 10 minutes away from wrapping it up. So shoot them down in the chat. We did have a question that I wanted to ask you uh, by Anand Madhav. So he says, how do we make sure that Google doesn't catch the AI part and lower the rank?
yeah, so I've actually had a lot of people ask me this. Some people that I've been working with, like outside the studio too, have been mentioning this, and this is interesting because I haven't run into that issue yet because I'm making pretty small pages. When I'm asking ChatGPT for these things, as you could see, they're pretty short phrases, and so maybe there's like some ChatGPT code firing in the background that's influencing the Google search recommendations. But I mean, we haven't seen a noticeable decrease in performance from this from the portfolio companies that we're working with. I mean, like I showed before, um, that was a screenshot of from like February that I just pulled literally this morning. So, uh, I mean, we haven't noticed any decrease from that. But I do imagine, like, hey, if you're like asking ChatGPT to write a 5 paragraph essay, you're yeah, there's probably a higher chance that you're going to get flagged for that, and you're probably going to be negatively affected. So I think keeping it simple for these long tail keywords is probably the best way to move forward with that without being caught.
Great. We have a bubble question. I don't know if you can tell me whether you want to take it or not, but it's
I actually do not know much about Bubble, but
okay.
maybe yeah, maybe the
It's a question
theory.
about SEO. Which one is better in terms of SEO, Bubble or Webflow? I don't use Bubble either that much. I'm only just starting, so I know that
Yeah.
Webflow is great for SEO. I can tell you that. I don't know about you, Ian. Do you have any insights?
Yeah, I really don't know how Bubble compares to Webflow, but I will say from a technical SEO perspective, I mean, Webflow does a pretty awesome job because you can, easily minify your CSS, easily minify your HTML or in your JavaScript just from the settings page. You just like with a click of the check mark. Um, and there are other, you can add code very easily too, which obviously I know you can do in Bubble, but like you can add preloader code to make your website load faster. And just from what we're showing you here too, like with the PSEO pages, I think you can maybe do that in Bubble. Maybe I'm not sure, but um, you can very quickly make 100 pages. Or I mean, I think my max one day was like 250 pages in a day, and I only spent maybe like 5 hours on it.
That's
So
fantastic. That's great.
yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's I don't know how it compares to Bubble though.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how it compares to it either, but from somebody that's been designing on Webflow, I can tell you like that I love the experience on the designer on Webflow compared to Bubble. When I first opened Bubble, I was like, okay, I'm not sure what to do here. It looks a bit weird. But hey, that's my personal opinion. Doesn't reflect on anything. Just my 2 cents. We do have a question in regards to Google search that you were mentioning earlier
Okay.
on. So this is from Leslie. Do you use Google Search Console to pull the performance metrics?
Yeah, Leslie, yes, I do. I did briefly like mention it in the PowerPoint, like really early on, but yeah, what we do is for some of the collections that we make. So, like for example, we mentioned the glossary example. So we will look at the words or the queries that we're showing up for in the top like 10 to 20, and we'll develop a PSEO page for those and try to get into the top 10 as a result. So, and like kind of the way that I'm looking at it too is, I mean, if I'm showing up for a query and I'm not even trying to bid on that keyword and I'm in like the 10 or 20 range, if I actually develop a page really quickly on that, I should be showing up for in the top 10 range. So yeah, Google Search Console is like, I think it's a ninja trick that still isn't, even people that know how to do this haven't been thinking about potentially using Google Search Console to get an advantage here.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Let me see if I can ask you one last question here.
Okay, cool.
Uh, uh, uh. This is for ChatGPT and Airtable from Ron. What's the best way we've integrated ChatGPT with Airtable?
I mean, honestly, what I've shown you is probably the best way that I've done it.
I think it's
I
quite a
am,
solid example, to be fair.
yeah, I mean, for people that, I mean, and I guess, there was that comment by AJ about you could easily create those formulas. I think there's tons of other ways that you could probably embed or use ChatGPT inside of your Airtable, but I can't think of any right now. I'm just kind of dipping my feet into APIs honestly this year. So if that's any if that's any indication that you guys could do this too, is like I don't know very much about APIs and I'm working on it now and I'm able to do this and bring these results. So within like
Yeah,
a couple of months, you can become an expert or at least someone who's knowledgeable of the stuff.
100%. And I can see you doing that. So it depends on the case study that you have, I guess, for using Airtable and ChatGPT. Like a social media person might use it to generate content, right? And so you ask ChatGPT for some topics for your niche, your audience, and then you put them onto Airtable, you create the assets, easy.
Hmm.
So I guess it depends on how you want to use it. So if you let us know, maybe I can direct you towards a show that we've done in the past or something that we will be showcasing in the future. All right. Well, Ian, I think time is up. So
All
thank you
right.
so much for being here with us today. Thank you for being an awesome member of our NoCodeOps community because I love having you there. And the first thing that I did, I saw what you created and what you shared, and I was like, Ian, you need to come and show me. You need to come and show everyone because that's one of the things that I want to do as a community manager, empower the members of our community. And I'm very happy to do that because as everyone can see, it's rightfully so. Like it's so great to have you here and like having you showing all this knowledge. So yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was fun, and I'm always happy to come on with maybe something new that I discover in the future. So we'll see.
Exactly. Why not? And until then, I'll see you in our Discord.
Awesome. Thanks, Claudia. Thanks everyone for watching.
Bye. Have a good weekend, everyone.